So thank you guys for joining the podcast. We have the two business owners of Flower Body, which is also amazing. I just want to say for the listeners, guys, if you ever want to look at their page, I'll put that in the description as well. But the work that they do is very interesting. For me, I look how they kind of do a transformation of the body in a natural way. But I wanted to ask you guys, what kind of got you started in this business and why?
We see it as a self-care, like a treatment of self-care for like anybody. So I wanted to see like, what else can I do? And my older sister actually recommended the girl that actually trained us and also did our bodies when we had just started. And
Body by Brie.
Yeah. So we kind of wanted to see like, which I tried it out. I went in and I just wanted to see what it was about. And he he said it's a non-invasive treatment. So there's nothing that's being inserted in your body. It's just a natural massage, natural treatment that helps, reduce fat, break down stubborn fat, and then liquefies your
the fat cells, and it's all working with your lymphatic system. So we ask everybody to drink a lot of water, because the more water they take, the more it's gonna drain. So when it's like in the stomach, it's all going through the urine, and also the toxins go in there. So that's what helps us a lot. That's why it's a non-invasive treatment. And that's when she was getting started about
it. So then once I tried it and I liked it, I was okay, this is good, it works for your body, and it wasn't just the body that we were kind of like, you see a result and you're like, okay, this is good. But it was more of like the self-care treatment and how can we provide, our thing was like, how can we provide it to our community? Because that was kind of like our main goal, like how can we make this accessible? Because we were going all the way, we're from LA, and we were going all the way to Santa Ana, and it was far. It was like sometimes like 30 to 40 minute drive. And it was like every Friday you would see us drive there. Sometimes she had class and she was still in her class while we were driving there. So we wanted to make it accessible for people in our community. And that's how we started thinking, okay, what can we do? And then just out of like, kind of like just, I don't know, the girl that was doing our body, she started training other girls. So we thought it was so cool because, like, it could be like, I never thought somebody would be like, oh, here, I do this, you could do it yourself too.
Teaching.
Yeah. So we were really, I really liked that she was willing to like share what she knew and her knowledge and then give it to us, and then for us to provide it to our own community.
Exactly. And we thought about it like when Karina was first thinking of doing body sculpting, and then when I came into it like a few months later, we were thinking like, how can this go beyond the body? And that's what got us interested also in body sculpting, to move beyond the image and work towards feeling better, because the images show a transformation, but the words that people use of how they feel, that's what's getting us like, okay, like let's stay in this industry, like you were saying.
Wow. And if you don't mind me asking, how long you've been in this industry?
Fairly new.
So we started, because I started doing it first, and then she joined like I think 2 months or a month and a half after. So I started in June of last year. 2021, yeah. And then in August is when Stephanie started to do body sculpting with me.
It's really exciting to hear you guys kind of pursuing this business, especially as Latinas. And it's kind of like rare to see that, because even though you guys did go to school, some things that aren't taught in there, like kind of you guys going for your own clients, networking, I'm happy to see that, because we need more. I guess I don't know if it's fair to say with you guys, like people of like at least our own backgrounds, or at least close to the backgrounds, to see us kind of like trying our own thing and pursuing that, because we don't have enough Latinas as owners. And so to see that and hear about these stories and you guys having your success, it's like school couldn't teach you guys that. And I love to see that you guys are like, cool, we pursued that, but now you're doing your own thing. And I wanted to ask you guys, how do you go about kind of going after these clients? Or is it just like people referring you because they enjoy the process so much, or working with you guys?
So it is a lot of people like referring us. So it's more like, because we started it with something small. So it's just friends of like, your friends that you follow on social media and your family kind of referring like, oh, just try this out. And then it was more at the beginning, it was more like I literally did, I think, all my family, like I did their bodies, and then I showed the results of my models. And they were like, oh, here, like this is my first model, second model. And then it just kind of went like that. Like then somebody came in and decided to, okay, want to try it. And then they told their friends, and it kind of just goes like that. We're actually, I get surprised when people are like, because we always ask like, oh, how did you hear about us? And they're like, oh, this person show me your page or something like that. And then when sometimes we're like, oh, I just found it, we get surprised. We're like, really? Like, it just came out on your page? Like, that's so cool.
Just recently, people have been saying like, oh, I just found it because I was looking at body sculpting. I'm like, really? Because we really try like emphasizing like, oh, please share the word, like tell your amigas, tell like who you're comfortable with, because also some people like want to keep it to themselves because it is something personal, and we respect that. But they also get excited eventually after they finish a package. Usually it's like 6 sessions. And they're like, oh, like I'm gonna tell my friends. And then I'm like, yeah. And it's the word of mouth that majority has gotten us more clients. And we also do we try seeking other like small businesses around our area. And that's what we constantly try looking for, because we don't know all of them, but we are like seeking them. And we, you know, offer them promotional, like a free session for them to come and try it out, because we want them to try it out in hopes that, you know, they not necessarily like always have to tell like who their own clients, but tell their mom or tell an amiga. That's the because I feel like that's how you get like genuine people to come to you.
Yeah, I like how you guys mentioned about the genuine part, because that's, I mean, for you guys business have grown because of word of mouth. And you know, I was gonna ask you too. I know you guys are focusing on social media as well. You mentioned a little bit about like doing the hashtags. What other things are you guys testing out to kind of expand on your social media or your presence online?
Aside from the hashtag, usually we put like flowering body, you know, the
Body sculpting, like
main
self-care.
keywords.
Yeah.
Other than that, I feel like we try doing like the motivational quotes.
Oh yeah, we do motivational quotes on Monday.
On Monday.
Like, I used to do that on my old job. So I was like, oh, we should put here. See, it's like, it's a cute message to like see on a Monday. Like, oh, like, you know, self-care, self-love.
Yeah, and
it's something that like it's like inside like the heart, like it hits me like oh, qué bonito.
Yeah. That's true. That's when Karina started like saying like, oh, we should include that. And then I thought like, you know what, if it's like aesthetically pleasing in some way, because there's a lot of quotes, find them like on Pinterest, and they're just like written in a like with a white background. And people just scroll easily through it. But if it's nicely designed, then aside from just looking at the body, there's people that love looking through quotes and they repost them. And I'm like, maybe it'll show up. And then we use different hashtags there.
I wanted to ask you guys, so I know it's a partnership in the business. How do you guys go about communication with each other? Does it ever get difficult, or do you guys feel like you have enough experience with each other to manage it better? Or what tips would you offer as well to people listening or future business owners who have to work with somebody else? Because I know it's not as easy as just you by yourself.
So I'll say well, first, I think the first thing is that we're sisters.
Yeah.
So it's like probably the reason why like we working together. Because, you know, I'll be like, oh, no sé, but because we're sisters and
like we're hermanas, so we have to support each other. We know each other. There's a chiquititas.
But I think for me was we're only 3 years apart, so I think we're so close. Like even with our oldest sister, like the three of us have been really close. Yeah. And when I started to do this, I was telling like I was already gonna like my job was coming to an end, so I was kind of like stressing a little bit. And it was them, like my two sisters, that pushed me to like, oh, just do it, do the training. Do you need help? Like, we'll figure it out. So that was like for me the way I started. And when I was in it, and then I saw how like, you know, everything was going really well. And I asked her like, oh, like, is this something that you also like to do? Because the thing was that sometimes I had like the mamá and la hermana, like la mamá, la hija, coming together. And so I'll have to do them back to back. So we'll be okay, I'll do a session and I'll finish a session, I'll do the next one. And I remember when we used to go get our bodies, same thing. We used to go and I was in fila, like, because it was the three of us. Yeah. I was done and the next one and the next one. So I was thinking, how can I make it more accessible where it could be enjoyable, where we have two people at the same time? So that's when I was like, would you like to do it? And she was like, yeah, okay, then let's start doing the trainings. Let's see how we manage it. And then that's how we just came about to just, okay, let's do it together. And I don't think it's been complicated, because I mean, we always had like a good relationship, but I think most importantly, like we always hear each other out. So when we have an idea of something coming up, like we talk about it, we sit down, we discuss it, and then we see, okay, this is how we want to do it. If she doesn't like something, okay, let's see how we work it out. If I don't like something, we'll see how to make it fit, and to the point that like we're both happy with it. And then most of the time we're always like, oh yeah, let's do it. because like
we have like mismos gustos.
Yeah,
we have like similar
always,
things that we like. And the good thing is that our mentality, like I feel that we understand each other well, like where we want it to be headed, what's our theme. If you see our page, it has a lot of flowers. The flowering body is about literally your body flowering into what it used to be, and to something that it's not just the body, like I said, it's like also feeling. So we also think about like, you know what, we constantly remind ourselves like, what's the goal? And because we have that goal very like defined, and we share that when it comes to making decisions, we're like, oh, that's a good idea. And we kind of like bounce off each other. That communication comes in good.
In the business together, and I think that's awesome. And even for that, I wanted to ask you, what do you guys feel is like a big obstacle when it comes to like running this business?
A big obstacle. What have you thought about it?
Like mala vibra, no, just
I think actually it could be that like energy.
I think our biggest obstacle would be if we start by any chance start being negative. But like just because we go based on our energy, and we always say we need to be in a position, like her and I, like we need to be content with ourselves, so when somebody else comes in, we can provide them that energy. Because one of the biggest things when it comes to body sculpting is it's about image. And I told my sister, when I started to do body sculpting, I want people to go beyond the body, beyond a figure. We want them to go inside themselves, and how can they connect spiritually, mentally, with their own body, where they become content with who they are and how they look. So I think a big obstacle is that there's always bad days and good days. So we always try to make sure that we need to put ourselves in a really good energy so we could portray that to our clients, because if not, then I feel like it just wouldn't work.
Yeah, setting the intention when we begin the day, and I think that helps because our communication with the people, with anyone, is better. And then you don't get as tired as much, because even though it's physical like labor, because you're using your hands and you're standing up, you don't feel it as much because you have a good conversation, because we feel good. But if we're not feeling good, we're like, okay, we need to try doing something to make ourselves feel good, because by the time the person comes into the door, like it's their time, because they came to us, and we want to dedicate that time. That's why it even affected like the way we schedule ourselves too. We want to give them our best energy, so we schedule people in the mornings and the afternoons, and it fits well. So that could be our obstacle.
And I love that there's like a part there too, like you guys were professional about it, and the way you manage yourselves is the way your clients are going to receive it. Because I can relate to you guys, me being in banking, if you have, like you said, if you schedule a time with somebody and sit down with them, you're making that time and being sincere with them. But if you schedule it and then you're not even at your best, it's unfair to that person, and they notice, and then that affects your referrals, because they're like, oh, I went to so and so and she wasn't as good as I thought it was, and then they spread it. But you guys are doing a great job because you've been getting referrals. So it just shows the opposite, that you guys are actually very intentional in your heart and in your work, that you're going to spend that time with your clients, and it's showing. And I wanted to say as well, I know you guys are starting out just you two right now. Have you seen like a plan for yourself, like at the end of 2022 or even 2023, where you might bring another person into this business to like work under you?
So our main goal, for 2022 will be I feel like expanding it wouldn't go beyond like us two and probably my older sister, because for us it's something like communal, and that's the purpose of like Flower and Body. That's why and some that's why it doesn't have like my name or her name, because there's so many people behind just us two right now. Even like even when people go and see our page, they see Stephanie and Karina, but my older sister, she's behind it. My cousins are behind it, and they kind of like they're all kind of bring it together. So in the future for us is like, okay, who else can come in and contribute another type of wellness for the community,
a different type of element.
Yeah. So for sure we would like to have, but it's limited because it will only be certain people. Like we have I know for sure, like in my sister or my cousins were like, oh, this is something different, like we want to add in. We'll be looking into it, because we plan to expand bodies, Flower and Body, as more than just body sculpting, and more like a wellness center.
That's cool, Karina. Like you're mentioning, it is communal, and not only that, I know of other businesses, and it's sometimes normal as well, where they bring in the family, and it goes from there because you recognize who's going to be really contributing to the overall what you guys your goal is, and even that, it's like it's easier to instead of hiring someone on the outside because you might know how they are or how they treat it, and so I think it is wise the direction you guys are going and how you're handling it. And just to share with the listeners as well, what tips would you offer on how to kind of like manage the business with all the amount of referrals you guys have? Because I'm sure you guys are kind of booked right now. So it's like, okay, how do I prioritize this or how do we do this?
Any advice?
I think for us, it's more like having everything in order because that's one of the things we do, even like because we're two, like even when it comes to like finance, like we make sure like we're always trying to have everything as like organized as possible because at the end of the day we want to make sure that at the end of the month like we could be like, okay, this is what you have, this is what I have, you know, when it comes to bookies, it's okay, like we kind of go based on availability, you know, like because like for me it's a full-time, so I have more availability, but for Stephanie it's a little part-time because she has to go to school, so we just kind of go based, okay, like depending on, you know, we're always have our phones always in our hand, so we always make sure that, you know, like even though we ask for like 24 hours, but in order for people to see that you're committed to your work, you kind of have to be on top of it. You kind of have to be like, okay, let me work on it, let me, you know, answer back, even when sometimes we're like, when people might ask like questions that you could see like in our highlight session, it's always nice to just answer back. You know, we don't have to go and be like, oh, like just look at it in the highlights, like there's no like we could answer that because that's the purpose of it, like we have the knowledge, so let's just answer it, even if it means to like type it over and over. It's just more like, it's just letting people know that we're accessible to them, because that's the purpose of it, like being accessible and, you know, have, you know, like there's no such thing as a dumb question, you know, like, so for us is that like being able to like, you know, even like when you're like, even if you have a bad day, it's always being able to provide our energy to the best that we can, and then always just, you know, just be like, okay, like we could do it, we have the time, how do we manage our own time?
I love the customer service side of that, and just even helping the people out in general. Because there have been services too where I was like, okay, yeah, I wonder if I can ask this question. I wonder if they've been asking a million times, but you guys have no problem answering because that's something you enjoy. Like you said, it's education, and why hold it back and educate the people that want to know and not hold it back. And I wanted to ask on that note, I know you guys do wood therapy. For the people listening, what is that, and how does that work when you're doing the transformation or body sculpting?
So wood therapy is 100% natural treatment. What wood therapy does is kind of mimics the original treatment that we have, which is, it's labeled sunflower session, but it has like different treatments like cavitation, radio frequency. These are like terms that you can find on the page too, but they're kind of, these machines are they have its own technology, but they're being mimicked in a way in wood therapy. Now, wood therapy also works with your lymphatic system. We're asking you to drink water. And what's happening is that we do it 45 minutes. For 45 minutes, we are in full contact with your body using wood tools that we actually may have nearby. Okay, so these wood tools are draining, like it's first making your blood circulate, breaking down the stubborn fats. And there's about, let's see, 5 tools that we use. There's around 5 tools. And now this one is for people that want to get that body contour. That's when we start recommending it, when people say, you know what, like my skin is like loose, we want more like skin elasticity. That's when we start recommending wood therapy. So we think about wood therapy as more as like the body contour, finding that figure. You are gonna reduce that stubborn fat. However, think about wood therapy more as like a body contour and getting that shape. But yeah.
Very cool. No, thank you for explaining that to me as well, and people listening, because I was curious about it, because I would see it on your page of just like the process of it, and it's great to see it because you're actually making, like, you guys know your stuff, and I love that. And what do you guys feel like down the road, like say, what's like the end goal for you in 2022?
I think for 2022, we want to build connections with other small businesses, just because everything there's so many people starting their own business, and for us it's like it'll be nice like at the end of 2022 to have like a small community with, you know, everybody supporting each other. You know, there's, you know, where, you know, like they're coming here, but maybe they also come with somebody else that does your nails, or, you know, somebody else that sells like in a boutique. You know, it's just more like building connections for it to like expand even more, because, you know, us every business, we all want to, you know, expand and, you know, get more clients. But for us it's more like getting more clients to create like a small family, small community where, you know, it's not just like, oh, come in here and like, let me do your body, but also like, oh, like maybe you could go with this person, you know, they do this, they do that,
referring each other. And I feel like that's how another majority of people have came from referrals from different small businesses that we have reached out to. And it's really like heartwarming when someone's like, you know what, this business, I'm gonna say it, Batty Bar, she has helped a lot. Also brought by Dalia. They say, you know what, I went to her service and they tried out your sessions, they recommended it, and I feel more inclined to come. And I feel like when somebody makes you feel more comfortable because they either had an experience, already had come into Flower and Body, or they heard about it, it's easier for people to come. And we're like, you know what, at the end we would like to also do that for other people. You know what, like, what do you need? Did you need nails, need brows? Well, you know, come to her or go to her. Because I feel like when we refer each other and we support each other, it becomes like a nicer community, like Karina was saying.
I love that. I love that you guys are talking about just showing one another. And just as we're nearing the end of the podcast, I know you guys gave a little bit of shout outs, but I wanted to say, was there anyone that you still want to shout out as we're ending near the podcast?
Family. I think family over anything, because they have helped us a lot. From our parents to our older sister to our cousin. Say her name because they always tell me that.
Oh yeah. So because if you see our theme is like flowers, but our cousin Joanna, and she always creates like our backgrounds, and that's one of the things that, you know, like nobody else could copy those backgrounds because they're self-made for us. So, you know, like her work comes into place. Our cousin Ruby that does her promotion, you know, she always tries to create videos for us.
Her friends, like even that like matters a lot.
Our parents are probably like
the
biggest supporters, like from my dad and my mom, right away being the first one to say, we're gonna do this, like, this is what you want, then we're gonna do it.
Providing space, everything.
Wow, very cool. I'm glad that you guys are really focused on community and family, and I wish you guys the best on your business. And I just want to say thank you for giving me a chance to kind of like interview you guys, and I can't wait to see at the end of 22. Hopefully we can do another video together and like how you guys are progressing with the business. And again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for asking us. Thank you.